Alrighty, folks. Good afternoon. I'm here to do a video for you today on the first tarot deck or set that I picked up. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago, before I picked up my very first deck. I've been interested in tarot for many years since I was a young man, but with career and everything, things get pushed to the back burner. Now that I'm retired and I'm pursuing things personally that I enjoy, I started actually buying tarot decks about 5, 6, 7 years ago maybe. And this is the first deck that I bought. Now this is a box, of course. Comes in a nice box like this, and it's called the Essential Tarot Book and Card Set. And in the back, this is the back of the box, and it's the Essential Tarot, and it says, unlock the secrets of the ancient and mystical art of the tarot and plot your path to spiritual growth with this unique instructional book and tarot deck. And it is, the publisher is Peter Pauper Press, right there. Pretty cool. Peter Pauper. It is, like I say, the first set of tarot cards I ever purchased. And here it is, very nice box. It's put together real well. And inside, and there's this little tab here to open her up. And you open her up like that. And then inside, you have a very nice tarot book, and it's a hardcover too. And it's a very nice book, and it's very instructional, and it's full color, and starts with the Fool, of course, description and meaning of cards and everything else, and goes all the way through, major and minor. And it's a very nice book, as you can see, nice and red, brightly red, 4 cards spread on the back. Very nice. And it has its little indentation right here for that book to fit in. And this is the box of cards. Now, I haven't opened this in a long time, but there it is. It's not a big deck. It's a pretty small deck of cards. And again, it's illustrated by Mary Hanson-Roberts. Hanson-Roberts tarot deck. And in the back, you have the 9 of Rods, looking serious and intense. Very nice. And on the front, or when I was reading the front, it says that the cards are in different languages. And it is. You've got the French, the German, the Italian, and what else? What did it say? Right here. Yeah, the English, the French, the German, the Italian, and the Spanish. See, right there? And that's all on the cards themselves. And if we open this up, I can show you what I mean. So we'll take this out, and there's this little backing board in there to fill up the space in the box. The box is kind of flimsy, but still pretty nice. And again, the card titles are in 5 languages: English, French, German, Italian, and Spanish. Now, this beginning of the deck, there is this lady. There are 2 ladies, just the front cards, but there's only one lady here before the Fool. Oh, I know where it is. Let me check real quick. Hold on. Be right back. I know, sometimes I read a lot as well, so I've got a pretty big library here at home. And mostly fiction. I love fiction. And sometimes I run out of bookmarks. So one day, and this was years ago, I took the other frontal card from this deck, and I was using it. I'm trying to find a book here as I'm talking to you. But I used it, oh, there it is. I used it as a bookmark. And I was reading this book, and I still am, Mario Vargas Llosa, The Discreet Hero. He's a Peruvian writer. Anyway, very good book if you want to read it. And there she is. That's the second lady from the Hanson deck that I was using as a bookmarker. So I'm going to bring her out, and I'm going to put some other piece of paper in there for now to mark it. And then I'm going to put it back on my shelf. So, okay, back to the deck itself for our flip through. So now I got the two front ladies, I call them, the frontal ladies, the cover ladies, to the deck. And this one says the Hanson-Roberts Tarot Deck by Mary Hanson-Roberts. And you can see the stock is a little flimsy, but pretty nice. And of course the colors and the lady's long hair and the sword and the pentacle and the cup and the rod. Very nice. Very nice. Rainbow up here. One of the front cover ladies. And here, to all believers. This is for true believers of tarot. Another lady. Here's the back of the card. All the cards are backed this way. I think very beautiful with all these designs here. And teal, I guess the overall background color is teal. You have green, yellow, purple, yellow, red. Very nice color scheme. So that's the true believer lady there. Now here's the deck itself. And of course we start with the Fool. So the Fool is very nice. Very rich colors, and I like the flower in his hand and the little tie around his neck, the neckerchief. And I don't see the little doggy there barking at him to warn him before he steps over the cliff, but I'm sure he's down there somewhere. Okay, so that's the Fool. Then we got the Magician, and he looks like a fella that could do some real magic on you right there. And here's the different languages down here. Of course, you got the English in the middle, the Magician, and I think this would be the French, the Italian, the German, and what was the other one? Spanish. El Mago. Y el Mago. Yeah, that's the Spanish. All right. So, and if you can see the different languages there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's the different languages. So that's French. Well, English here, French, Italian, German, and Spanish. All right, Magician, very nice. And then we've got the High Priestess. And again, the English and then all the other languages down here on the title section. And as a High Priestess, I think she ranks right up there with any other card I've seen, tarot card I've seen. She's absolutely colored spectacularly. The backdrop behind her is outstanding, I think. Very nice. And then we've got the Empress, number 3, in the Major Arcana. She's got this halo going around her. Nice necklace of beads, or perhaps pearls, maybe. So very nice. Yeah. Then we've got the Emperor. Boy, this guy looks circumspect, doesn't he? Like, I'm in charge here, people. Come to me for all wisdom. And again, this color scheme is nice. I like this laurel around his head. Very nice. You can see that laurel there. El Emperador. All right. Spanish isn't good at all. Der Herrscher, German. Il Imperiotto. No, that's wrong. Anyway, I'll stick with the English. So that's the Emperor. The Hierophant. Papa, the Pope. And it looks like he's crying a tear of blood there, which is something that you notice right away. The Hierophant. Very nice. Color schemes again. The red in the background, I think, is a nice background to pop out his crown, golden crown, and his white beard and everything. Very nice. Then we've got the Lovers. Oh, I like this card because they don't only look like the lovers, you know, together, but they look very affectionate toward one another. If you look at their faces and their features, they look like they're very affectionate toward one another, especially with their hand here on his head. Very nice, lovely card, lovely. Then we got the Chariot, number 7 in the Major Arcana. And it's got 2 Sphinx here in the front, drawing his chariot forth. Nice band of stars up here. Again, I like the color schemes here. And I don't know if you can see, but just the imagery itself, it's not sharp and clear, the painting. It's kind of grainy. They look like, it's like a grainy kind of feel to it, or look to it. And it gives it more depth to me. I mean, there's clarity in everything, very distinct, but I like that kind of haziness in the painting style. Very nice. And we got Strength. Ooh, look at that lion. Again, affectionate, right? I mean, look at the lion. Lion in her lap. And I know they're all looking up at her in all the other cards as well, but this one just, to me, aside from strength and respect and everything, there's a certain affection in the rendering, in my opinion. One of my favorite cards, the Hermit. And of course, whenever I say the Hermit here on YouTube, I have to pay homage to Simon Harrison from the Hermit's Cave. I just love that website, or that YouTube site. Star in there. Nice flowing white beard. The mountains here, these tassels. Very nice, and it's grainy again. You see, over here in the white glow, you see how it gets a little bit grainy over here? Like they ran out of paint maybe, or they sprayed the paint on. But I like that grainy effect. It's, I mean, for lack of a better word, it's quite enchanting, because it puts almost a glow into the look of each of the cards. Very nice. Now we got the Wheel of Fortune. And again, the 5 languages here. I'm not going to even attempt to say anything but the English. Wheel of Fortune. And I like the eagle here, the angel, what do you call this dog? I forget. The Egyptian dog. Anyway, there's the wheel right there. Snake right here, 2-headed snake. The lion, the cow, unicorn, or whatever it is. Right there. Very nice. I like the sunburst here. Then we have Justice. Justice. Oh, I like this purple in the back. It's got his sword, the mighty sword, and the skill and balancing of justice, the power and the justice. Very nice. The Hangman. Well, I like the Hangman here, but compared to the other cards, he seems a little washed out. You know, maybe if they went with this halo, a little different color, more purpley or something on the halo. I mean, I like the card. It's a gorgeous card again. But it just seems a little bit washed out compared to the other cards. But it's a nice card. Then we have Death. Ooh, Death. Ooh, I like this Death card. One of my favorites that I've seen in a long time. And like I said, this is the first time I'm looking at this deck in a couple of 3 years maybe. Very nice. Thing coming down there. And we have Temperance. Very nice. Very nice Temperance. Again, this one looks a little bit washed out, I think, because they made this area a little bit too bright. You know, so it seems, I mean, that's the magic of art, right? I mean, we know it's not glowing, but it looks like it's glowing. And because of that glow, seems to be washing out the rest of the colors. But it's not really a glow, it's just a rendering, an artistic rendering, obviously. But I like it, And there's a reason for the rest of the card to now be looking a little washed out in color here in the middle, and it's because of that glow. So I think composition-wise, artistically, that makes sense, right? There's a logic to it. Now we have the devil. Now look at that devil. Now is that a scary devil or what? With those red wings and those fangs and those red eyes, and look at those horns. Even his ears are like secondary horns. And in this one, the two people here that are chained, but loosely, so they can basically make up their own mind if they run away, but they seem to be fixated on the devil, so they don't run away. However, they're crouching and it's like they're cowering more so than the men and woman that you see in the other devil cards in some decks. They seem to be just standing there. These two seem to be cowering more frightfully. And I think maybe it's because he's got this fire jammed down so close to him in this card. Spellbinding almost. I like it. The Tower. Oh, the Tower is nice. Yeah, I like the Tower. And I think I commented the other day, the last time I was doing a walkthrough on some cards, and I forget the deck that I was walking through on, and I made a comment about them using, because they just had the lightning bolt that comes down was just like a line like this, like a Z, like that. This one they took a little bit more time to jagged the thing up, you know, so it looks a bit more fierce coming in on this one. So I like this tower. So nice, they did a nice job. But again, you have this flashpoint, and if you notice, it doesn't wash out too much of the color of this guy falling out. It washes out because of that effect of flash. It washes out some of the wall on the tower. But as you can see, even with this little washout around the figure of the guy falling, the guy himself is quite bright. So that gives you a good focal point, artistically and composition-wise, when you're looking at the card. It doesn't, you can see like the flash, but it doesn't wash out the rest of the card. And for me, that's good composition artistically, and you know, it's a feast for the eyes when you look at it, because everything comes together, and I like it. And you have the star. Oh, this is gorgeous. Look at that star. Look at that dove. Look at the flowing hair. Hey, I'm smelling smoke. How come? Make sure nothing's burning around me. I think one of my neighbors already lighted their fireplaces. Yes, even in Hawaii, some people have fireplaces because they don't like the cold. And it's been a little chilly here in Hawaii at the nighttime, or in the nighttime, down to around 69, 68. So I think somebody's already fired up, and it's not that late, you know. What time is it? Let me look. 5:24 p.m. So it's not that late, but smoke I'm smelling looks like one of my neighbors have fired up their fireplace. All right, so that's the star. Here we have the moon. Oh, face and the moon on this one. It's almost like you can visualize the rest of this woman lying in a hammock, you know. Very, very intriguing kind of dynamic here. These guys baying up at the moon, and she's just like kicking back, you know. Raindrops here. Very nice. I like this one. I like it a lot. Then we have the sun. Okay, I like this one. And you see again how, because the horse is so white, you would think that it would be washed out, but the rest of the colors kind of, composition again is excellent on this, the artistic composition. You kind of see the horse almost fading away toward the bottom, but the rest of the rendering holds the whole composition of the artistic work together. Finely put together here. I like the sun. Now we got judgment. Now judgment in this one, I think the composition again is spot on. I mean, look at that. You know, there's always a focal point in this one right here, and the focal point is this big long red. And the reason it seems, even if it's not right in the middle as the focal point, is it starts up here, but it covers a pretty wide section in the center of the card, but then it does drop down. Even if it's going toward the left, it does drop down toward the center. So it still gives you that feeling of a focal zone in the artistic presentation. So I really like this judgment. Then we have the world. Oh, I like the world. Now, in my opinion, they didn't take enough time to define the woman in the middle. She's not as defined as she should be artistically, I think. So again, this one, as opposed to having a focal point, when you look at the focal, what's supposed to be the focal point, your eyes drift out to the corners, and the man, the bird, the lion, and the ox, which is good, I guess. You come in here and then your focus on the picture is all-encompassing. So perhaps that's the composition that the artist was going for. Coming in the middle, and then you drift out to the more specific entities out here. So I think overall I like it. Although I think the woman herself, now this edging here could be white, and that's fine. But I think just the definition in the depiction could have been a little sharper on the woman. But overall, nice card. Now we're into the pentacles. We're done with the majors. So this is the King of Pentacles. There's a stern-looking king right there. Oh, I love his cape here and all these designs. Very nice. It's got a nice castle in the back there. It's good to be king, huh? Yeah, very nice. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, I like this. You know, very nice. And the little rabbit. Very nice. Yeah, and again, the overall composition is very nice, and you got that grainy feel to it again. Very nice. So you get an overall wash of the whole presentation of the artistic rendering here. You get it all at once. You know, there's no real focal point. It's just you focus on the whole of the composition in this card, as opposed to like this one that I was mentioning earlier, where the world card, where you kind of come in, the middle is sort of washed out, and so your vision, your eyes go to the corners because you have the more specific renderings there. But here, as soon as you look at the picture, the whole thing is in focus. There's no focal point. The whole card is the focal point. And that's hard to accomplish artistically and from a composition point of view, I think. And these I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but these are just my opinions when I look at these cards. And for me, it's like almost looking at them for the first time again, because like I said, twice now, the third time, I haven't looked at this card for about 4 years maybe. Because it's, like I said, it's my first deck, my oldest deck. Now we have the Knight of Pentacles. Now, again, for me, the composition on the man's face seems a little off. So that's the first thing I notice when I look at the card. Again, there's no real true focal point here, but that face is right there looking at you, and just the composition of the face seems a little off. So that draws your eyes, in my case anyway. You make that determination. And so it takes away from enjoying the overall aspect of the card, which is pretty good, pretty nice. Now you have the Ace of Pentacles. This is very nice, very nice. And again, this is one that you look at and there's no real focal point. The whole card comes at you at the same time. Very nice, I like it. And now we have the Page of Pentacles. Lovely page, very nice. I like this headband here, very nice. And then we have all of the different pentacles, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, 6, the 7, the 8, and so on. Ooh, the 10 is good. I like the 10 of Pentacles. Very nice. Hey, look, Santa. Okay, so that's nice. Now we got the swords. Now, one of my favorite cards is the 2 of Swords. So again, I completely forget what the 2 of Swords looks like in this deck, so we're getting close. This is the King of Swords. And compared to some of the other kings on the other cards who are looking very intense, you know, this guy looks like he's what I see on his face is confidence. You know, he's not trying to put on a facade of menace. He's gripping that sword tightly, you can see, with strength, but his face beams with confidence, you know, and that's a great rendering, and I like this overall. And got the falcon here, very nice. And you have the Queen of Swords. Again, strength is what I see. And in her case, when you look at the face, the features on her face, she looks, that to me, that's a calm intensity, if you can put the two words together. She has like a calm intensity, and she's gripping the sword, yet she's beckoning with her other hand, you know. So very nice, very nice. Queen of Swords. And we have the Knight of Swords. He looks, I don't know, the sword itself looks a little short, so proportionately it doesn't look as imposing as it could have looked. And you want your knights to be imposing. But overall, it's a very nice rendering. And I love all the cards, even the ones that I kind of point out what I see as eccentricities in the composition and so on. But I still love them all. I think overall this is a beautiful deck. And now we have the Page of Swords. Very nice again. And again, when you come to the court cards in the minor here in this deck, the rendering of the faces are very distinct, you know, in most of them. Except for the World card, where the lady, like I bemoaned already, seemed to be not the focal point, or she wasn't defined enough. But in a lot of the cards, and I'm finding especially in these court cards, in the minor arcana, the facial expressions are very nicely done. This guy looks very, I think it's a guy, looks contemplative and ready and able but still contemplating the scenarios that lie before him. Then you have the Ace of Swords. Very nice. Now you see, they didn't have to show the whole sword now. If they did with this ace what they did with the knight and sort of shortened the sword so the whole sword could fit into the overall composition, the overall rendering. If they did the same thing with this one and we could see the whole sword, it wouldn't be as dramatic as this is. Look at that, because you can't see the whole sword, but that doesn't matter. You get it. This is a sword, and there's a strength to it. And of course the laurel, because you got to have balance. So I think they should have done the same thing with the knight and his sword. Is let the sword go outside the boundaries, and that could have been the focal strength point. Oops, dropped the card, sorry. I'll be back, coming back up. They could have, just, if they had put the sword kind of forward, not as forward as this one, but more forward than it is, and let the point go outside the boundaries, that could have been like a focal point of strength for that card. But hey, that's just me, perhaps. So that's the ace. Now we come to one of my favorites, the Two of Swords. Okay, now this card, as soon as I look at it, this is the opposite of washed out. Because although it's a little muted, none of the card is washed out. Everything blends compositionally together in the colors. You see that? It isn't washed out at all, but it's muted. Even the red is a little muted. And again, for this one, I think it's because of that grainy kind of look, that they have here in the rendering. That kind of grainy essence to it. But I like this. I just like it. I'm babbling here. Well, like I said, the Two of Swords has always been one of my favorite cards, and this one is done just wonderfully in the rendering. Muted, but impressive. Very nice. And we got the Three of Swords. Again, I like this one because of the focal point of the heart, and it's red, so the whole heart is the focal point, and then this sword is pushed down further enough into the heart that it also becomes part of the focal center. And then under here, they shade it a little darker, so this whole portion right here is like the focal. That's your view, your eyes go straight there, and then you can expand your view of the rest of the card and take in the ominous clouds and the raindrops and the points down here and everything else, and the snaky over here and the other two snakes there. All right, very nice. And you have the Four of Swords. Again, all nice, very nice cards, but we're gonna kind of go through it all as quick as possible. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Ooh, the Ten of Swords, look at that. Another one of my favorite cards. It's ominous, yet not, for some reason. I like it. Okay, we're back to the court cards on cups. I like this king. For me, again, composition-wise, it's a little off-center, so it takes a little bit away from the presentation, I think. But it's a nice presentation. Again, composition-wise, proportion-wise, it leaves a little bit to be desired. The head seems kind of pushed down, but he's a lovely-looking guy. I'm sure he's a good king. Now you got the Queen. I don't know. I'm looking at this Queen, and her features and the distinction of her expression seems a little bit flat. in this one. Although I like the sparkle in the cup that she's holding. I like this band around her shoulder here. Very nice. So the overall presentation is nice, but I'd like to see a little bit more shading in the face to give it some depth. I know, picky, I'm sorry, but I have to reiterate, I love these cards, all of them. But I'm going through it, and so I'm giving you my first impressions. Well, not my original first impressions, but my first impressions after a couple of years upon seeing them again. And this cup is nice, again with the sparkle, and the sparkle, I think, grabs your attention more in this set of cups, so to speak, because the cup is just a very plain, rounded cup. There's no ornamentation or anything on the cup, so that sparkle becomes the focal point for the cup. And actually in this card, that sparkle is perfect to get your attention in that, and then let your vision off the rest of the card go out. And it's sweeping. It's a grand vista in this one with the river and the mountains, and I love this tree branch here. So I like it. I like it. Now you have the page. I like the facial expression, but if there were a little bit more shading, I think it would have given us more of a depth. But again, look at the cup. I love the cup. Very nice. And the sparkle in this cup is a little muted, which is perfect, because you have the sparkle up here on her brooch. I like it. And the wave here. Being in Hawaii, that looks like a good wave. That no, I don't think I'd want to surf that wave. That looks like a killer wave to me. Okay, the Ace of Cups. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, it's dripping down from heaven. Very nice. Again, the focal point starts there, and you have a more muted sparkle on this side. So the two blend together very nicely, composition-wise. Okay, so we got the Two of Cups, 3, 4, 5. Oh, look at this. And again, like I mentioned a couple of times already, just in the expression, the affection comes through on the expression in a lot of these cards. And this is brother and sister, obviously, or perhaps, and you just see the affection. She's so happy to be with her brother. He's so comforted by the fact that she has her hand around him, and they're happy with their flowers. It's just a wonderful, wonderful Six of Cups. Seven of Cups, very nice. 8, 9, 10. And again, look at this one. Look at the affection in this one. Look at the affection. And this little girl is holding hands with her brother, but she's so happy that her mom and dad, she can feel how much they love each other, and the abundance of it all, and she's so happy. And the brother is younger, so he's a little bit clueless, but he's zeroing in on his sister's happiness, and his hands out here like this is like, ooh, good vibes, good vibes. I like this card. Okay, so now we got the last suit here, rods, and we've got the court cards. Now look at that king's face. All right. Now I go back to what I said about shading. See, this one's got perfect shading. Now, unlike the ones that I pointed out that kind of looked flat, this one doesn't look flat. And the reason it doesn't look flat, let me get a little pointer thing here, is this little shading right here on the nose by the eye, and this shading here. And there's this little under his cheekbone. See, that shading right there. Now that shading, what it does, as far as I'm concerned, is it just puts a certain depth into the expression of the king. Now this king is a contemplative person. That's what I get out of him. He's contemplating the heavy duties of his position. And I love it. Composition, again, is very well put together. Let me get back here. I kind of like bringing it back into view here, because I just saw it in a fleeting glance as I put it away there. I like the hand, that it's a little bit bigger proportionally to the rest of the picture. You see the hand holding the rod? It's a little bigger than it should have been, maybe, to put it into a better proportion to the rest of the artistic image. But it works. It works for some reason. It's like it's pulling you in, because it's like a grand hand, and he's saying, with his finger up like that, he's saying, listen to me. I have something to tell you. Okay, the Queen of Rods. Like it, like it, like it. I like the kitty cat. I love cats. Looks like Ginger, my cat. I introduced you to Ginger in one of my earlier videos because he scampered across my path when I was walking outside in the backyard. So I introduced him to you. He's a wonderful cat, Ginger. Ginger Snaps. I call him Snaps because I mentioned it in the other video, but I might as well mention it again. My granddaughter named him Ginger. And he's a male cat, and now he's a big male cat. And for me, it's like, Ginger, Ginger. It's like, nah, I got to give him something more than just Ginger. So for me, I call him Ginger Snaps, but most of the time I just call him Snaps. Snaps, you know? Now you have the Knight of Rods. I like this one. A little bit overdone here. I think if they didn't have all of this stuff here, it wouldn't be as busy as it is. But overall composition is pretty nice, but it seems a bit busy, so you don't get as much clarity. See, the mountains are not very distinct here with his face right up against that mountain there, so it really doesn't give you a sense of grandeur, that those mountains, he's in a vast area and those mountains are far away from him. So I just think compositionally this one's a little off. Page of Rods. I like this one. Now look at, again, there's a sense of such innocence in this page, you know? And he's a little younger, I think, than most pages, although the pages are very young. This page looks even younger than that. But it's a wonderful rendering. And you see, same as the one before, where this knight's face is right up against the mountain, so it takes away from the clarity that those are mountains. Here, because his hand is behind his face, and so his face is not lined right against the mountains, it gives you a grander view, or a more expansive view of, okay, he's way over here in that mountain. Yeah, that mountain's, or that hill or cone or whatever it is quite far away. So it opens up the picture better because they have the hand here compositionally. And again, I have to reiterate, and I know I've said this before, this is just my opinion. Artistically, I love art, and so when I see good art, like all these cards are, very good art, I still have a tendency to give my opinions. And I'm not trying to be negative, although I'm probably sounding like an artistic whiner, and I apologize if I'm coming across that way, but overall I really love this page of rods. Now we have the Ace of Rods, and I like this one even more so than most of the rods, because in this deck, because the ace, the rod has bloomed, and it just makes you smile when you look at it. The rod has bloomed. It just feels like hope, this card, to me. When I look at it, it inspires me with a flush of hope. Really like it. Then, of course, we have all other cards here in the rods, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5. Again, the 5 looks a little bit too busy because they have the guys bunched up too closely, but that's okay. The overall composition is nice. And you have the 6 of rods, and the 7 of rods, the 8, the 9, and finally the 10 of rods. And I really like this 10 of rods when I look at it because they left a little tuft of hair on the top of this guy's pate, the pate of his head. Very nice, very nice. I like that. I like that old guy. Well, I'm an old geezer too, so I'm not bald, but I like that they left that tuft there. You know, that's like, I'm not giving up, you know. I'm keeping every strand I have to the very end. So I guess that's, you know, fighting the good fight. And that's a good way to end a flip through. So thank you for being with me today. Kindest thoughts to everyone. And I'll see you next time.